lightning like Steve McQueen. I'm in the fast lane when the light turns green. And I built tough, I ain't nothing but grit. Cause I made rugged blood, sweat, and spit. Yeah, like a horse I fly. Better push yourself in for a bumpy ride. I like to play hard, but I work harder. And I weather the storm cause I'm built stronger.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? We are back. We are live. It is the Freight Coach Morning Show, the top morning show in transportation, coming to you guys every single weekday, 8:30 a.m. Pacific, 10:30 Central, to break down some industry headlines and, most importantly, provide some actual insight into what you can do with all this information. If this is your first time tuning in, welcome. This is the real side of freight, ladies and gentlemen. What do I mean by that? I mean that anybody who comes on this show or my twice-a-week long-form podcast is a transportation professional, all right? I don't like theory. I want to bring information by the people who have done what you're looking to do or who are currently doing what you're trying to accomplish, to put the right information out there that you can apply, utilize, and see a meaningful difference in your business and your life. It's one of the many reasons why I probably fly this American flag behind me every single day. A, we're the greatest nation on earth, but B, I'm living my American dream, and I want to help each and every one of you guys live yours as well. It's going to be a solo show today. We're going to cover over where's the freight first and foremost. We're going to go over that. As always, you guys, if you have any sales or operations related questions to the transportation industry, drop them in the chat right now on LinkedIn, or drop them on the chat over on YouTube or on Twitter. They'll all feed through here. I'll answer them live. That's the whole point of all my content, you guys, is to keep people in business, is to help people through a lot of the situations that they find themselves in. But yeah, before I do any of that, you guys are going to give a shout out to my friends over at VHub. You guys, vhubapp.com. Whether you're a broker, carrier, or a shipper, we all need access to trailers at some point in time. And the best part about what they have, you guys, is you get paid to move these trailers. That's right. If you're an owner-op or a small fleet right now and you have a trailer in the shop, you don't have to shut your operation down. You can get paid to move these trailers, and that's on top of the revenue that you can get by loading these out. So what they're working on right now, you guys, they have West Valley City, Utah, going up to Calgary, Alberta, and you get $1,550 US to move that. And now Paragould, Arkansas to Mississauga, Ontario. What is this? This is a drop trailer opportunity because this is a volume move. What do I mean by that? They have a couple hundred drive-ins down here in Paragould, Arkansas, needing to get up to Mississauga, Ontario. So you can grab these out of here. You can bring them down to Memphis, Tennessee, over to Nashville, up to Louisville, Indianapolis, wherever. You got to reposition these trailers to drop them at your shipper or your customer, and then they just got to deliver up into Mississauga, Ontario. So again, you guys, think creatively right now. Think outside the box on how you can get in the door with some of different shippers and bring a different solution to the table. They also have this same opportunity over in Stoughton, Wisconsin, going over to Milton, Ontario. You get 1,000 Canadian to do that per move, you guys. So again, you can bring them over to Milwaukee if you have a shipper in Milwaukee that ships stuff into Toronto, Detroit, Chicago, whatever that looks like. You guys, think outside of the box right now. The opportunities that are coming available aren't going to be the easiest opportunities, right? So this is a solution that you can provide to your prospects. And then they also have this down in Dallas, Texas, going up to Long Sault, Ontario. So hit them up, you guys, vhubapp.com. My friends Xavier Campos and Stacy Steen, they'll be in the audience. Just do me a favor, let them know that the Freight Coach sent you. Melanie, what is up? Good morning to you. Thanks for tuning in. Joshua Richter, he says, let's go, Coach. Thanks for tuning in here. April Maroney, happy Monday, happy Move That Freight Monday. Let's fucking go. Tracy St. Clair, good morning to you. She's watching over on YouTube. Melanie says we need the knowledge that we can implement every single day. Melanie, that's what we go live every single day. So put this information out there. Sunny Sharma says, good morning, Orange Shirt Gang. Let's fucking go. That is right. Orange Shirt Gang is in the house, you guys, and we are here to drop that. So topic we're going to discuss here first. Where is the freight? Obviously, the market's not the same, right? And we talk about this show on this show in particular often. I'm never going to sit here and say that the industry is not changing. I'm never going to sit here and say that things aren't different than how they were. But the fact of the matter is, you guys, is there's still going to be an opportunity out there. I don't buy into the narrative that there's too much capacity or there's a driver short. There's a lot of shit that gets thrown out there all the time. Where's the benefit in that, right? Like, again, I'm not going to say that there isn't validity to some of these claims that are made out there. I just want to focus in on the solution. What can people do currently to stay in business, right? Because who wins? Who wins if people leave the market? Not the individual who lost their entire business, who had everything leveraged on the line to make it work. And I'm never going to sit here and say that people aren't going to quit. People are going to quit. People are going to go out of business, but they don't have to, right? They can look at things from a different solution. Dan, the driver row, he says, good morning from Macon. Dan, thanks for tuning in as always. But again, you guys, where is the freight right now? I think that where we are currently sitting, the opportunities are out there. They are, trust me, because I'm out there onboarding new shippers right now. I don't have trailers or like I don't have assets to work with, right? Because I know that a lot of people want to position themselves as asset light or what. I'm just very hyper focused on what I'm going after. I'm not going after a bunch of stuff, right? Like I think that a lot of people focus in on like the easy, right? Like, hey, I want to move Atlanta to Chicago, for example. The freight might not be there right now. That opportunity might not be there right now. But it might be down in Macon, Georgia. It might be going into Indianapolis area or Indiana or something like that. Or it might be local, right? It just looks different than what we want it to, you know, but you got to think of it like this. Freight's still moving, right? Freight volumes are still happening every single day. People are still onboarding new providers. People are still doing more and more business out there because the opportunities are out there. The only time as a business owner, the opportunities stop is when you stop trying for them. And, you know, just like with a lot of individuals, I have everything leveraged in my businesses. I have everything leveraged in this. Either this works or this works. That's my fucking options right now. And that's how you have to approach this because you know what? You might have bought your truck at a high price. You might have bought your trailer at a high price. That doesn't mean there isn't a profitable option that's out there for you. You got to find that consistent business, right? And I see this coming up a lot now in the social media circles as there's a lot of drivers who want that direct freight. They want that direct shipper freight out there. There are plenty of shippers out there who will set you up as a one truck operation. Plenty of shippers are going to be out there who are going to give you that opportunity. But how are you going to go in there as a small business to represent yourself to gain their attention, right? And it's out. You can't go in blind. You can't go in unprepared. You have to have an actual plan for the freight. You have to know what areas you want to run. You have to know what your availability looks like because you can't just go in and say, hey, I have a truck, get me set up. Just like all the brokers out there who reach out to shippers and they're like, I can do everything, set me up and I'll move your freight for you. That's not the way it works. But if you're a trucking company who can go in and position themselves as, hey, I have a viable option on Mondays, Thursdays, and Fridays, or whatever day of the week you want to put it on. This is the region I like to run. I'm located here in Phoenix, Arizona. So my region that I might like to run is I might want to run Los Angeles, Northern California, Reno, Nevada, Las Vegas, maybe over to Salt Lake City, Utah. That's the region I like to run. So when you're positioning yourselves and going in and talking to these prospects or shippers in your area, talk to them about specifics, right? Because the whole point of that, A, they have that freight for you. They have lanes that ship like that for you. Or B, they might not have that lane, but they'll start letting you know, hey, I don't have anything to Salt Lake City, but I got something going up to Utah, or I have something going to Albuquerque, New Mexico, something along those lines. We just have to have a plan on why we're calling them and why we're showing up there. The freight exists, you guys. The freight opportunities are out there. It's just the plan. Know the freight you want to haul. All right. Know the freight you want to haul if you're an owner operator or a small trucking fleet, because the reliance on the load boards is heavily played. And the same thing is with brokers who just rely on load boards to source all of their capacity. I'm a fan of load boards. Load boards hold a ton of value out there, but they're a crutch, right? They're a crutch, and you want to get out there and build up your business that way. So again, have that plan as you're going in. Have that plan on why you're reaching out. If you're an owner op or a small fleet and you're located wherever you're located, get some business cards made up and introduce yourself to individuals. Shake some hands. Shake some hands. The opportunities are out there no matter what data is being reported. Freight is very fragmented. you guys. Freight is very fragmented. I understand that there is always going to be a national average of stuff. I understand that there's going to be rejections, tenders, and all that stuff is very valuable information, but that's not everything, right? It's not everything. Remember, you guys, like 90+% of the freight that is moved every single day is by 20 truck or less operations. Okay. So the opportunities are out there for you. They really are. We just need to be out of that. It might not just be a power lane, right? Like we might not be able to run Atlanta to Chicago. It might have to look a little bit different. It might have 2 drops, for example. It might be a driver assist, which I know that, your guys is low. Your job is to drive trucks. But again, right now, if you're building your business, you got to do what you got to do to survive. And, for me personally, in my businesses too, I have my missions. I have what I want to go after, but like, I'm not going to turn down revenue if revenue presents itself and I know I can accommodate that. So the freight is out there. The freight is moving right now. There are opportunities to succeed right now. You don't have to quit, right? You don't have to give up. I'm not saying that everything's going to be sunshine and gumdrops. It's fucking hard right now. And it's going to be hard here for a little bit. Probably who knows? I know nobody can accurately say how long anything is going to go on. It's all an educated guess. But my opinion, as it's been pretty much the whole time, is it's like, let everybody else quit. Don't be the one who gives up. Don't be the one who folds right now because you read an article that says, there's too many trucks on the road, or that, people are going to go out of business. People are going to go out of business. That's a reality, but that doesn't have to fucking be you. All right. That doesn't have to be you. There are plenty of opportunities out there. There is freight out there that is still moving at a very high level right now. The opportunities are out there, you guys. We just have to find them. We have to remove our reliance on others, like in the form of load boards and everything else, and get that direct freight. I see this very often. I want to find those direct shippers. There's opportunities out there for you guys. Jerome Jones is watching over on YouTube. He says that he's out there looking for something like cardboard boxes, windows, and tires. I like it, man. Dude, Jerome, as always, and he says he's not scared of driver assisted loads. I mean, there we go, man. Jerome, that just puts you above all of your competition with that mentality. You got to look at it like that, man, because there are drivers out there who don't want to do driver assist. I know Dan, the driver row, does driver. He does shit like that all the time, and he's the produce king out there. But again, it's like, that's what I mean by the freight is out there. It's not always going to be palletized. It's not always going to be first come, first serve. It's not always going to be easy shit, right? Or like quote unquote easy stuff. There's opportunities out there, man. There really is, Jerome. I know you're out there in Ohio and you're looking for that freight, man. But like, dude, if I were you, I would get the business cards made and just go out and introduce yourself, man. If you know the freight you want to go after, man, go after it and find those manufacturers in your area and go out there and talk to some individuals. Papa Bear in a chair says, I've been calling a major local prospect every day for 2 weeks. Finally got her on the phone for a conversation this morning. I love that. Dude, I love seeing that right there, man. You're out there. That persistence is where it's at. Following up is so key, you guys, because just because you talk to somebody today and they're not interested or they don't need you doesn't mean that that's always going to be the case. You have to follow up, because the reality is the first couple of times you introduce yourself, it's probably going to be a no, right? In some way. It might be absolutely not, never fucking call us again, or it's going to be, we're good right now. We're good with our current network. We barely have enough freight for our current network, or, we're whatever. There's a lot of objections that can be thrown your way right away, but that's not forever, right? So again, like talking about that is, how else do we get set up, right? Like, or excuse me, I'm sorry, I was reading ahead here on that comment. But again, just like that, those objections that come through are going to constantly come through. It doesn't matter if it's a good freight market, a bad freight market, a fucking whatever freight market you want to call. Objections are always part of this. Navigating through these objections, though, you guys, are so key. Naeem Shaheen says, "Is door-to-door strategy still work with shipper? I've tried with some and they all say to email." I think that's not a bad thing. I personally think face-to-face is a good opportunity to get in the door with some shippers, you guys. I truly do. I think that, again, there are going to be some who prefer phone email, whatever that looks like. But I always think getting in there and introducing yourself is always going to be a great opportunity to uncover some business. I truly do. Because again, what everybody else is doing, generally speaking, you guys, this is something that I've literally lived off of these last 3 years. Again, I don't know fucking anything, right? Like I'm figuring out everything as I go as being a business owner. But out of the mentors that I have, and what I've discovered a lot is if everybody's saying go to the right, sprint to the fucking left. All right. Because everybody's generally wrong most of the times. And these are from the mentors that I follow and groups that I'm a part of that are full of self-made individuals. And just what I've identified as being the best path to follow is over these last 3 years in being in business for myself is that if everybody is going to the right, fucking sprint to the left as fast as you possibly can. That's to summarize. Anyways, Nick Sanders says, I'm a broker now. People have stopped answering the phones. I just started going door to door and I'm having a lot more success. Nick, that's not a bad strategy. Door to door is never a bad strategy at all. If you can do it, if you can get out there and do it, do it. I think that it's always about just introducing yourself is so powerful, right? Them seeing you're a real person is very, very powerful. And that might be over the phone too. I don't know. I'm never going to subscribe. I think cold calling is always a great way to introduce yourself and to stand out because most people can't do it. So, again, think of it outside of the box in different ways. Papa Bear in a chair says I prospect better face-to-face, my cold call. Yeah, man. Here's the thing. You want to get better at cold calling? There's only one proven strategy on how to get better. Make more cold calls. Sorry, dude. I wish there was a different way. Cassandra says small carrier with reefers, and we have been working directly with shippers, and it's been our saving grace. Load board freight are loads that have been heavily sifted through. Yeah, Cassandra, I'm right there with you. I think as a trucking company, there's got to be a mix, right? Like the most successful trucking companies I know have direct relationships out there with shippers, or they have quality, long-standing brokers that they've worked with that don't necessarily play into the pushing the rates in one direction or another. It's always about that consistency in delivering consistent results to your shipper partners as a whole. And no, that's good. That's good to see that you guys are experiencing success with that, Cassandra. Anytime, man. Naheem says, shout out from Quebec. And then Zach Lonergan says the innovators aren't doing what people can't, but what people don't want to do. It's very true. It's very true. And that's the thing, as you're building up your book of business, you guys think about it like this. Most shippers, again, I'm just speaking from the ones that I've worked with, everybody's going to go in and prospect on the fact that they want 1-in-1. They want first come, first served. Multi-drop shipments is a problem for most people, right? Because most people don't want to do it. I think that there's a lot of stuff out there where the opportunities are going to align, where it's like if it seems very easy, right? Chances are there's a lot of people going after it. And I think that that's one of those situations where, again, standing out in the crowd, you guys, that's how we do it. All right, let's break down some articles. Unless you got Cody Miller. What is up, dude? He says, good fucking morning, freight enthusiasts. Happy Monday out there. Yeah, you guys, more questions if you guys want. I choose these articles to break down as a way to, again, provide some different perspectives. But if you guys have questions, and I'm going to be doing this, you guys, as a way to make sure everyone's questions get answered. But every Friday moving forward is going to be a Q&A style morning show questions where I'm going to answer. If you guys have any questions, DM them to me or drop them in the chat and I'll answer them on Friday's show. But again, if you guys have these during the week, don't think you can't ask them while I'm breaking down articles and stuff like that, because I want to help you guys. All right. As much as I possibly can. I can't really put out a ton of other content right now. I'm trying to be very mindful of my time as I'm in the the trenches building up my companies right now. And this is a way that I can continue to give back, is through this show every single day, as well as my twice a week podcast that I drop. It's all geared towards putting information out there for you guys and answering these questions. So if you have them, ask me. And then especially you guys, I have guests that come on the show too, who are very much, if I get a bunch of questions geared towards, say, insurance or something like that, I'll have one of my friends who's an insurance expert come on the show, and we'll talk about this and stuff like that. So, fortunately, I got a pretty wide network where we can go. So if there's a specific topic that keeps kind of showing up, I'll have guests geared towards that, and we'll get this stuff answered. You guys, we'll put this information out there to keep you guys profitable. All right. This article that we are going to break down is from FreightWaves. Can FMCSA improve ELD regulations? Glider kit compliance, technical malfunctions among changes being considered. All right, ELDs, those devices meant to keep truckers and companies they drive for honest when logging in hours of service, have been one of the most controversial pieces of equipment in the industry over the last 5 years. That's one reason why the FMCSA is currently combing through more than 1,300 public comments responding to its proposal to modify the regulation in an effort to make them easier to use. Specifically, the FMCSA is considering changes in 5 areas: applicability to pre-2000 engines, addressing ELD malfunctions, the process for removing the ELD's agency certification list, and technical specifications and ELD certification. The question is, will the changes, if the agency decides to make any, actually help? There needs to be more safeguards in place to keep ELDs from recording hours of service that are actually going against my drivers, says John Mallory, is the director of safety for Sapulpa, an Oklahoma-based John Christner Trucking, for Sapulpa, Oklahoma-based John Christner Trucking. The driver is supposed to log out of the ELD and put it in shop status when they return to our facility, but they don't always do that or know that they need to do that. Mallory said, a lot of times my team drivers will forget to make the driver switch on the ELD, and there's no way to fix that. That leaves with the driver breaking the 11 hours per driving rule because his wife drove on his login time. In fact, the FMCSA is looking at several changes that might address Mallory's out there. I think that it's got to be a pretty simple thing. Like there's got to be an automatic way to do a lot of this stuff to make it easier. Because I don't understand why it has to be overly complex for drivers to utilize an ELD system that's out there, or why they have to log into 18 different fucking programs before they just start driving for the day. But anyways, applicability to pre-2000 engines and glider kits. While the current ELD rule does not require drivers to use ELDs when operating trucks older than model year 2000, the FMCSA points out in its proposal that many vehicles with pre-2000 engines and most vehicles with rebuilt pre-2000 engines, known as glider kits, have engine control modules installed that could accommodate an ELD. The agency is therefore considering making the regulation apply to these engines as well. Making such a requirement, however, received mixed reviews. All right. Expanding the ELD requirement to include these types of vehicles would bring more vehicles under the ELD requirement and help improve hours of service compliance and roadway checks, wrote Colin Mooney. He was the executive director for the CVSA. However, he added the change would be difficult to enforce, eroding any intended safety benefit. It's very difficult to verify roadside whether or not the vehicle is subject to the ELD regulations based on the engine manufacture date. But the TCA, which lobbies on behalf of major carriers such as Werner and Swift, has the opposite view. ELD should be required on as many trucks as possible, including rebuilt or remanufactured engines out there. FMCSA should push for expanded ELD adoption because it's an important tool to track compliance out there. And then Western State, Joe Rakovics, I'm botching the last name, Government Affairs Director for the Western States Trucking Association, points out that the FMCSA's proposal failed to take into account whether trucks operating without them were overrepresented in crash data. If not, why would the agency want to needlessly inflict more harm on highway safety by needlessly expanding the mandate? So I think that for the most part, talking about the it hasn't proven to show improved safety. The last article, and again, somebody call me out on this if you want, but from what I saw last, that the ELDs have not proven to, or have not shown to improve safety. That traffic fatalities and stuff were actually up since the implementation of that. So it's interesting about why you would want to expand it out there. I don't think that there's a need to do that if it doesn't improve safety. Again, I'm not a fan of government expanding fucking anything on people at all. But again, if its current juncture hasn't improved safety, I don't know how expanding it would. I think that the removal process, the current ELD regulation does not address what happens in a case of certified ELD listed website going out of business. So they're considering whether it should immediately remove the device from the certified list. The agency is also cutting in half from 60 to 30 days the amount of time that an ELD provider has to respond to a notice warning that its device is not compliant. If an ELD provider goes out of business with no plan to provide support through a third party, the ELD should be removed from the registered ELD list. Let me see here. Don King, or however, the carriers using the ELD should be given sufficient time to find a suitable replacement, 1 year, for example. Don King, who is the DAWN, Dawn King, president of Truck Safety Coalition, which routinely opposes relaxation of trucking regulations, commented that the highway safety is adversely impacted by the current response time. The FMCSA should require that the ELD manufacturers respond to a written notice of non-compliance in 30 days instead of 60 days. Failure to do so creates an opportunity. Yeah, it's really tough for me because, again, I'm all about safety, right? As I feel most people are. I truly do. I feel that the overwhelming majority of the people out there comply, do the right thing, and follow the rules and regulations that are in place. But I think that we're always talking about a small subsector of the population that are going to break the fucking rules no matter what. They're called criminals, right? They don't give a fuck what the rules are. They don't care about any of this stuff. So again, I don't feel the need to make it more challenging for rule-abiding and law-abiding citizens to operate. I don't subscribe to that narrative at all, because the people out there who are generally driving up these statistics aren't paying attention to this shit anyways, right? Like, they're going to break the rules no matter what. So this is why I don't believe in far-reaching changes that make it harder for people to operate in the way that they currently are. I don't buy into it. I don't think it improves anything that's out there, because the people who are going to do it are going to constantly break the rules. They're going to constantly break the law because they don't fucking care, right? Might be hard for some people to comprehend, but there is always going to be a group of individuals called criminals who don't give a shit what the rules or the laws are. They're going to continue to do whatever the fuck it is that they want to do. So I don't believe in changing something that makes it harder for the people who are already doing it right to make it harder for them to continue to operate. I don't believe in it. I don't subscribe in that. That it's an attack on the individuals who are doing the right thing anyways. I don't believe in it at all. It's a good read though, you guys. It truly is. FreightWaves article, Can FMCSA Improve ELD Regulations? It was a really good article. There's a lot of really, really good information in this one. I thought it was one of the better articles breaking down out there about the ELDs and stuff. So I would definitely check it out. April Maroney says, I've heard the same about ELDs. I always been under the impression that it's just another money grab for the government. Big brother watching drivers and limiting their incomes. But I come from a family of truck drivers, and more regulation by the government is never a good thing. I don't know if you guys can hear me clapping, but amen, April. I couldn't have fucking said it any better than that at all. It's never a good thing. And again, we shouldn't change up anything that makes it harder for the people who are doing the right thing already to make money. Because let's be honest, people are going to break the rules no matter what. But that's it. You guys, we only got to one article. That's fine, because we had a bunch of questions come through. And as always, you guys, drop them in the chats on YouTube LinkedIn, wherever this show goes live at. And then if you're watching it on the replay too, you guys comment on it. I'll see these questions and I'll answer them live on the show. We go live every single weekday, 8:30 a.m. Pacific, 10:30 Central. And as always, you guys, if you saw value in this, share the show, subscribe, share the show, rank the show, get it out there, you guys, because that's how we are the top transportation podcast, is because of each and every one of you. But that's it for today, you guys. We'll be back tomorrow. I appreciate you guys. I love you guys, and we'll be talking to you soon.